I worked my whole life. I don't apologize to take care of my family. And I refused to be a fool. Dancing on the string held by all those big shots.
Hey, okay. Is it working now? Are we alive now? Unbelievable. All right. So there's a quirk. I thought maybe it was a me thing. It is not a me thing. It's a quirk of Rumble. And now I know. It's the same thing that I did last time. That I broke. And now I know what it is. And I can therefore avoid it moving forward. Very silly quirk. Not a fan. 0 out of 10. Do not recommend said quirk. Maybe I'll let them know. Maybe like, hey you! What is that you did? What the heck in it? Okay. Let me catch up. I am behind, obviously, on everything. Jack, I appreciate you being here hella early. Oh my goodness gracious. Wild, same to you. Hello. Hi, I'm Mel. Hello. Diesel, it's good to see you, sir. Welcome in. Welcome. A pleasure to have you. Yes, everything's broken. It's true. I broke it all. I'm sorry. It's my fault. Doctor. Hello, doctor. Yes. Looks maxing title from last time. Correct. Yes, it was all broken. It's fixed now. Sorry. Hiya, Thump. Hello. Very good to see you. Tear. Fabulous human. Listen. Hello. Good to see you. Welcome. 17 seconds. That's not enough time to catch up on chat. I said, hi, Jack. Very good to see you. This is the right stream, but the other one still shows live too. Yes, it's stupid. Oh, 5 seconds. Hell. Okay. Am I ready? Are we ready? I'm not ready. 3, 2, 1. Oh, golly. Hello. Greetings. Salutations all. Hello. I'm sorry that I broke things. It's a...
I worked my whole life. I don't apologize to take care of my family. And I refused to be a fool. Dancing on the string held by all those big shots.
Mel, thank you for the gifted for guts. I appreciate it. It's quite kind indeed. All y'all being very extra. And here I've just broken the stream right out of the gate. I feel like I've failed to earn it. I'm still gonna try. To earn it, but by gosh, by golly, we are suffering. We are dying. Got our lurks up. That's good. Lurks are good. Lurks. I almost said lurks and quirks because it's being ridiculous. But oh, this person ended. Who are you? Stranger danger. You ended too. Wow. All right, pulling up Rumble friends, or at least Rumble acquaintances. We don't really know them very well, do we? No, we don't. No, we don't. Okay, but they're pulled up. Very good. We're supporting the humans where we can. Got that going. The chat's going. Yeah, we did it. Hooray. Imagine you guys. It's not the bare minimum, but it's down there. I don't know what to tell you. Welcome back. Thank you. It's good to be back. An Apex pack to celebrate. Oh my goodness gracious. All right. Apex pack from L. Boom. Got it. We did it. We did a good day, you guys. Wow. I don't even remember his name, Aki, but it's like Crumb or something, or Clunk. His name is something like that. I don't know. Good to see you, Aki. It's good to see you. I hear that you guys have made it to your destination. You and Leanne. It's very good. Very good to have you both poking around. Pro, hello, Pro. It's good to see you. Welcome in. Happy weekend's eve to you. How am I? Well, I'd be better if I didn't break all the stream stuff right at the outset, Pro. I'd be better. But you know, we're doing all right. We're doing okay. We're here now. We're here now. And that's what's important. What's important is that all of my crazy amount of work and loss of sleep was not wasted preparing for tonight, such that I get to actually do it, which is very good. I get to actually deliver some of this material. I'm having a hard time figuring out where to delineate, like where to draw the lines, because it's so much material. So we're gonna figure that out. How are you? What are you doing? Ain't the boogie-doogie, hello boogie-doogie, it's good to see you. How's date night going? I like how earlier you were like, man, we don't really have time to see each other except for date night. And then date night is here. It's good to see you, sir. Good to see you indeed. Here, but falling asleep again. You don't have to answer any. I didn't ask earlier, Guts, in Boogan's chat. And you don't have to answer anything here. Just know that I hope you're well, that you're recovering well, and that everything went according to plan. You don't have to say or anything here. You know, blink twice if you're in danger. Like, I hope you're well. You being here is a good sign, so very glad to have you. I hope that you get plenty of rest. I won't be offended in the slightest if you nod off and fall asleep. Not even a little bit. I'm just glad that you're okay. At least as far as it requires one to be okay enough to type. Type? I don't know. Glad to have you. Glad to have you, guys. Another 45 minutes to catch up. He's right. Tree GIF is definitely me right now. Called it. Wheels. Oh my gosh. It's good to see you, Wheels. Welcome in. I hope you're doing so gosh darned good. It's good to have you. Good to have you. Look at that tie. You like it, Wild? I like this tie. It's not bad, huh? Not bad. It's non male. I'm glad you like. Anarchy! Hello, Anarchy! Ahoy yourself! It's good to see you. Holy cannoli! Been a minute. I hope the time zones are treating you all right. Fancy seeing you. Indeed. Yeah. Oh, nice slurp. 8 out of 10 length. Sound and difficulty of ripple. Yeah. It was not unpracticed. That's right. Cannot type. Well, that's all right, Guts. You have an excuse, Christmas tree friend. Eye drops. Yeah. I do now probably need the eye drop content. It's true. I gotta do it. Dang, feeling okay. Just been feeling sick and pain since I had my surgery this morning. What? Crazy. Why did you have a surgery this morning? I'm like, what the heck? I know 2 people. Now 3 people who had a surgery this morning. What the blazes? You don't have to answer that question, but I'm glad you're all right. Glad that you're all right. Spectrum didn't drop the ball. That's an important point, Aki. Spectrum did not drop the ball. That's a critical thing. I think it was due to a wildfire. We had a fire out here. I don't know. I told Leanne about it on Wednesday morning. I was like, and the coffee crew. I'm like, there was a fire over there. I don't know. Someone who knew more about tech things said maybe it's their pass-through station or something. I don't know. The fire wasn't even close to us. So, whatever. There's an outage. Very annoying. They didn't even send me a message to say it was back up, by the way. No courtesy message to be like, your internet's working again. They usually do. So this was just like a new low. A new low for them. It will hear you right, Mel. Oh my gosh. Oh, lower back. Oh no. Posted a funny pic in our crew chat, so enjoy. In Boogan stream, eating my McNuggies. Oh! And that happened. Mine involved lower abdomen and reproductive things. It's true. It's true. I want to see this picture. I'm gonna look right now. Yes, I am. I'm going. You said, and that happened. Nice. And out you go. Pass out nuggies in hand. I love it. No, not the dipping sauce on the laptop. Guts, no. Didn't we learn? No, Guts. No. You gotta keep all of the food and liquid the heck away from the laptop. Friendo. When will you learn that actions have consequences? That's my question. Oh, I had to put a needle into my lower back where the slip disc is at because it was low. Oh no. Anything to do with the spine, Anarchy. That's nuts. Anything to do with the old spine. It's very scary. Very scary indeed. That sounds terrible. Isn't that what, like, an epidural is? Ladies out there? Like, isn't that what an epidural is? They stick a giant ass, like, needle IV tap thing into your spine. Isn't that what that is? I could be wrong, but I think that's what that is. I don't know. Laptop was on a table, not my lap. Also, it was sweet and sour. Yeah. Doesn't matter what it is. You gotta get it off of the laptop. Very danger. No food is allowed near this. Okay? Like, and if on the rare occasion that I have food near this, I have a towel that goes over my keyboard and over this entire setup. Just like when I have cigars here. Because ain't no way I am getting any crumbles in this keyboard or on any of this. Like, no, and no. No, thank you. No, thank you. Learn, probably when it's my turn for the communal brain cell. Learn. I didn't know where else to put it. Oh my gosh. My back injection's on Thursday. Not happy. Expensive and don't work for my neck, so don't have high hopes for my back. What? So this was the conclusion of the appointment? Like, this is where they landed? They were like, all right, this is what it's gonna be. It don't work for my neck. So the injections don't work for your neck. Oh, the same injections previously done to try and alleviate neck pain did nothing. So you have low expectations that the same method employed on your back will have any sort of different results. I got you. Okay, I'm tracking. Just my brain. I am suffer, Mel. I am suffer. But hey, here's hoping it works. Maybe it's different. Fingers crossed, you know? I don't know. Hey, D's always good to see you guys. What fancy keyboard you got anyway? A custom made one. It's one of the nicest gifts I've ever received. A member of the Mafia, actually, Dear Dragon, made me this custom keyboard. And wow, he knows how to make them. This keyboard is no joke. One of the nicest gifts I've ever received. Not like nicest keyboards, because it's definitely the best keyboard I've ever had. No question. But it's one of the nicest gifts I've ever received in my whole life. Nuts, this keyboard. I swear by this thing. I any keyboard that I have after this one, assuming this one doesn't last until the heat death of the universe, which it just might, I'll be ruined. I'll hate it. It'll be awful because it won't be this. And that's no good. Honestly, I'm spoiled. Diesel. They gave me the good when I was waking up in recovery. I'm blasted. Yeah, we gathered that. Didn't work for my neck. Yes, and sorry. Yeah, brain not braining either. That's fine. I don't have a brain. That's not true, Wild. You got one of them big old crinkly ones. I have it on good authority, being your friend and all. Gang, don't let her lie. Don't let her fib in your general direction. She got one of them crinkly brains. Get her. She one of them smartins. Okay, so very good to see you guys. Very good to have you in. There's much to say tonight. I'm going to, as I said already, try and truncate what I have because 40 pages is too many pages. And wow, to give you guys an idea of sort of how my time has been since I saw you guys last, which many of you, that would have been on Wednesday for the rendezvous. And again, if you guys aren't plugged into the rendezvous, it's your last chance. There's only like 2 spots left and they're in the 7 Pum crew, and then the crews are closed. And there's no more crews. That's it. You gotta get into one right now, and that's I have no idea when down the line, when in the future, more CNRs will be opened, but this is it. The doors are closing. And you know, also kind of because of this, kind of shot across the bow of anybody who has a tenuous or less than serious claim on a CNR chair. And by that I mean, if you have been accepted into a crew, you have access to their chat, that's you, and you don't take seriously attendance of them, at some point your chair is going to be given away. I don't know when that point is. It will vary by the person. But if you can't make it for a given week because you're traveling or something, fine. That's fine. I get it. Life happens. There's lots of folks who do that. And they're like, hey, I'm traveling this week. And they let their crew know, hey, I can't be there for these reasons. Like, I got that. But if, like, you just no call, no show and months pass, there's people who want chairs. And they're limited in number. So, take them seriously or don't, I guess. People who take them seriously are going to get to keep their chairs. It's not limitless. Wish it was. Wish I could figure out some sort of logistics, something to do so. Alas, can't. So anyways, those are guys I got to see on Wednesday. Since then, I have been beating my head against a wall. All day yesterday, I basically had, writer's block isn't exactly the right word or term or phrase or whatever, but it was like that, okay? Effectively as close as we're going to get is writer's block. And all day yesterday, I suffered. Oh my gosh, I could not manage anything useful. Though I certainly tried, just out here beating my head against the wall. It was terrible. Just a whole day of suffering, and basically nothing to show for it. It was a very frustrating day. So I ended up spending quite a large part of the day studying with the hot bride for nursing stuff because she had some sort of continuing education testing something going on. So that was fun. It was like a throwback to old times, and that was good. But yeah, brain, wow, just suffered. Then not enough sleep last night, and writing since I woke up this morning. So if I look tired, it's because I am. Yeah, my brain hurts like crazy. And yeah, this one will likely be a 3-parter, just like The Lover was. The King will probably be 3 parts. Anyways, we'll get to that. Also, sorry for clearing my throat, I'm dying. It's sort of a bracketing sort of thing. You talk too much in a given day, and all of a sudden you gotta clear your throat constantly. You talk too little in a given day, and you gotta clear your throat constantly. It's ridiculous. I didn't talk all day. I just sat here, and now I'm clearing my throat. Like, what the blazes? Hot Bride was here today for much of today, and I didn't even get to talk to her. I just sat here writing all day. It's crazy. Absolutely nuts. Be shushed. Oh my gosh. Shushing me? Crazy. I polish my brain. It's not Polish because it's not a capital P, you guys. Although, potato dumplings. Duck and dumplings. Caraway. Ooh. Okay, I polish my brain every morning. Nice and smooth. Twinsies. Twinsies, sir. Twinsies. Thank you for dropping links. I appreciate you. Yes, indeed. It's good. King, it's good to see you. Welcome back. How the heck are you? How is you, my friend? And as the time zones treat you, of all the places you could be, King, it's very good to welcome you back here. All the places on the entire webs, and you're here. Says it's great. It's really cool. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Hope Weekend's Eve finds you well. My spot can vanish. DVV! Hello, sir! No, you've been, like, what? Of all the people who've been hella consistent. I mean, like, so theoretically, sure, if, like, in 2 years you just dropped off the face of the earth, sure, but that's not a... No. That's not a you thing. That's not a you thing. Writer's burnout? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Wild. It was... I just couldn't focus. I could not focus. It really sucked. Just every stinking little thing. Normally it's like, all right, I accomplish a bunch of tasks and I sort of scooch them all to the side, and then I'm like, all right, I've done all the things. It's time. Settle down and write. And I just couldn't. I got everything ready. I got everything done. I didn't have any other tasks that were pressing. I mean, I've always got like a bunch of tasks that I want to get done, but nothing that I had planned. And I just didn't, yeah. The words would not come. The words would not come. So I reread a bunch of material. And even then I'm like, cool, yeah, but unless I plan on just straight up quoting all of these books, just like incessantly, allow me a reading of this whole chapter of this book. Like, no, it was very difficult to distill ideas down. What is happening? Who is texting me? Everybody I know is here. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Hop right indeed. Just burnout. Yeah. No, not burnout. Not burnout. Definitely not that. I am not burnt out. Not burnt out. By Jove, it's good to see you. Thank you for the lurk. I appreciate you. Look, we got the Tenzin bear over there too. We love it. We love. Hope you're well, Jove. I hope you're well. Thank you for calling out, Aki. I appreciate you, Mel. I appreciate you. Okay, gang. Very good to welcome you all in. If you are not seeing all of the stuff that's going on, you could see chat is happening from Rumble and Twitch. If you're not following on the twos, well, then you're putting all your eggs in one basket, and that's a silly thing indeed. I'm grateful as heck for all of you who have voted with your bandwidth and are pulling up an extra tab. That means an awful lot that you guys would like have a tab for each. Many of you. That's really cool. Some of you have a tab for 3, which is nuts. You got YouTube pulled up too, which is wild. Like wild. I didn't mean to do that. It just worked out. It just worked out. But I'm very grateful to have you guys in, and I appreciate your patience in me. With me fielding technical difficulties as we kicked things off here tonight. That was odd. But yeah, now I think I know how that quirk works, so I'm going to be able to avoid that in the future. Next stream is tomorrow night. Yes. It should be about 23 and a half hours from now. I will be resuming, and I think finishing? I don't know. Maybe not finishing, because I'm not sure what the pacing is like. And it depends on raids and stuff like that. But yeah, maybe finishing the Hellblade game, Senua's Sacrifice. It's a really interesting game. We resumed it last Saturday. And what a fascinating game. They've done a really good job. A lot of the art is really kind of wondrous. I don't know if I'll finish it. But at worst case scenario, I don't know if worst, because it's not a game that I'm itching to like move beyond, you know what I'm saying? But like worst case scenario, I think it's 2 more streams. I think it's 2 more nights to finish Hellblade. That's my guess. Is it possible to finish it tomorrow night? Sure, it's possible. Stranger things have happened, I suppose. Yeah, that's that. Tuesday in it, assuming my internet is up and functioning. I'm back at Apex, which was wild. Again, I appreciate you guys' patience as I dealt with those technical difficulties. Those weren't of my making, but they were my problem, as it goes. So yeah, really good to see you guys on Wednesday. Glad for all of you who were patient also, as I worked quite a lot to put this talk together. Most of what I ended up writing today will not even be addressed today. It won't even be lectured on today. Most of what I spent 10 hours writing, 10 hours writing today, a little more, 11 hours, something like that, is going to be in the next installment. But whatever, it helped me clarify my thoughts, and I moved a bunch of stuff around, so now it's like more holistic. So I'm going to be like, Hale! Hello, Hale! It's good to see you! Welcome, sir. Welcome. Still glad to have you on the oxygen side of the Earth's crust, my friend. An extra tab, he says. Looking at 4 tabs for Gus trying to work out how much I have to catch up on. Oh my gosh! So much to catch up on. 4 tabs! That's a lot of tabs! I'm grateful for 1 tab, let alone 4! Holy cannoli. Hydrate! Blinker fluid! Nerp. I think that's because Aki redeemed it and the alert popped off. But the alert, I'm gonna have to change it so that the redeems just don't work. Like those redeems don't work on Rumble. But anyways, you get it for free, Guts. You get it for free. Because I haven't fixed that yet. It's my fault. But yes, I do need eye drops, so thank you. Okay. Hey, look, guys. Non-expired eye drops. We need them. We're suffering. And look, these ones don't burn quite like the last ones did. So, but again, I feel like I was fibbed at, you know? Like, I've had eye doctors and eye surgeons tell me, if eye drops cause burning, it's because your eyes were dry. They did not say, check the expiration on your eye drops. They didn't say that. They didn't say that. Maybe they didn't need to. Maybe this is a me problem. It's none of my business. None of my business. Let's not talk about how many tabs I have open on a given day. Right, DBB. Me neither. Twinsies. How many tabs do I have open? It's a lot of tabs. Oh, you ended. Sick. And now it's only 30. I mean, listen. This is why we can't have nice things. This is why. But we put friends before frames. You guys know this. We take it very seriously. We take it very seriously. Pull that up. Pull that up. Okay. Bet. Equal trade today for my hilarious picture. It's okay. For the hilarious. It is a hilarious picture. It's a very good picture, Guts, and I'm glad that you shared it. Yes, I am. But the burning is how you know it's working. That's right. Daisy! Hello, Daisy! Welcome in. I hope the week's end finds you well. A DM on Discord? No, I do not have... first of all, I'm perennially behind on DMs. I apologize. That goes for a lot of you out there. I am always behind on DMs. But I also have 18 DMs from people I don't know that I have not looked at. So I apologize. I am terribly sorry. I try to work through my correspondences at least a couple days a week, but it's a losing battle. I'm very sorry, Daisy. I'm very sorry. I hope it wasn't pressing. If it's something pressing, you let me know and I can bump it up on the priority list if it's some sort of time-sensitive matter. But yes, appreciate you letting me know. I appreciate you letting me know. Pearl, it's good to see you. Hello, hello. I hope you're well, friendo. And the time zones are treating you well. It's very good to have you. Very good to have you. I hope your headache's gone. Unless I'm mixing up who said they had a headache earlier. It's very possible I was skimming. So, very good to have you. Very good to have you indeed. Okay, so, we're gonna launch into this thing. I'm gonna try and be, a little bit better with my time, given how long it took to get into this, and it's already 40 minutes. Holy cannoli! Okay, so here's the deal. I am going to be disabling raids and all of that once we launch into this thing. I am not going to be adding follower-only chat or any of that jazz, but I will be disabling the raids. Again, you guys can be on Rumble, on Twitch, on YouTube, any of those platforms. I'm on all three. The talk is going to be a continuation of the series that we've been in, The Masculine Journey. This is night 10 of the formal lecture portion of this. There have been just chatting streams strewn throughout. There were preamble streams. There was a lot, but of the actual formal talks, there have been 10 so far. And there were 3, unless I'm crazy, unless memory doesn't serve, there were 3 parts to the previous installment, the previous stage of The Lover. So this one, if what I've got written so far is any indication, will be as long. There's much seriousness to cover with this one, a lot of weight to get to. I am gonna be schmoovin' once we jump into this thing. I want to be respectful of your guys' time, and as I've stated in the past handful of months going through this stuff, it is my aim to truncate it on any given evening as I'm able, in order that the material, weighty as it is more easily digested. In smaller chunks, that is. So I will attempt to do that tonight. That said, I did not ahead of time find a satisfactory place to end. So I'm kind of going to wing it. I'm kind of going to wing the specifics of when I'm like, and that's the end cut. We'll see. We'll see. It will, much to my chagrin, because I prefer if the talks, well, communicate to one another, right? If there's a pretty obvious pick up and put down sort of dynamic between the two. Alas, this one may be a touch clunky, but we will see. We will see. Okay, no worries. Check it out after your stream or whenever you have time. I sent you a cool idea. Okay, I got you, Daisy. I can't promise anything, but I'll be working through my correspondences just as quick as I can. Appreciate seeing you. Appreciate you being here. Okay. Before I begin, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the folks that make all this possible. These are folks who have parted with their hard-won dollars to give this thing a shot at a future. You guys have heard me say countless times that I believe real relationships involve the silly and the serious. And it is my aim to create a community, that's the Mafia community, where we get to cultivate both. That's no small thing, and it takes sacrifice on your guys' part with your time, your bandwidth, with your energy, emotional energy, sometimes physical energy. Like, this is no small undertaking. And given that this is a business, there's also finances to keeping the doors on this thing open, to keeping the wheels on this thing turning. Use whatever turn of phrase you like. This doesn't happen without you guys. And the folks who have sacrificed of their hard-won dollars to give it that future, it means an awful lot. The free stuff goes away without you guys. The whole thing shutters without you. Any good that comes from this project can be traced right back to the feet of the patrons on Ko-fi or Patreon, the folks who are subbing over on Rumble, all of that jazz. It means an awful lot. An awful lot. And I do not take it for granted. Guts said earlier in Boogan's stream, I may or may not be present later. Because, the post-surgery drug cocktail. I don't take your presence for granted. I do not assume that anyone's going to be here. I am practiced in talking to myself, and my ideas are purposed with being good ones regardless of who's listening. That's the point. It's evergreen importance. Evergreen in its importance. And I'm going to be lecturing on it no matter what. Shouting into the void, if need be. A voice crying out in the void. And I'm gonna be doing that. So I'm grateful. Grateful indeed to have you guys in. In particular, I'd be remiss if I did not extend an extra special thank you to the public patrons. These are the folks who've taken their support to, honestly, unreasonable levels. Those are Aki, Bootless, Dano, Leanne, Ferret, Goose, Abby, Tink, Helly, Marty, May, Karma, Pre, Rick, Zen, Ryan, Sabrina, Tier, Mouse, Trotsky, Pell, Milk, CJ number 1, and Zen. Thank you. Okay. As ever, or as has been my want, my habit, my penchant for the past several of these installments, I will not be seeing chat for this. So it's not going to be the longest thing in the world, but for whatever duration we're running at here, I'm not going to see chat. So I apologize. And again, if you've got something that is time sensitive, or something that it's important that I see in a big fat hurry, DM me in Discord. Those of you who've got that sort of access to me, I have notifications on and I can see things pop up. So let me know if there's something absolutely critical that I need to know. Otherwise, I'm not going to be seeing a lot of chat because I derail super easily. I mouth breathe quite, what's the word I'm after here? Enthusiastically. And that's the combination of those things spells disaster for someone who is trying to stay on point and try to convey ideas in any sort of concise fashion. So I'm trying. The aim. It's the aim. It's not a guarantee. Definitely not. The only guarantee is that I'm going to blow it. The only guarantee is disappointment. You know this. So yes, I'm going to be holding forth for a stretch, and then when I conclude, have a couple closing remarks, and then end. And I suspect we'll have that done. If I'm schmoving as I think, we'll have that done somewhat quickly. Somewhat quickly. So, this one's tough. And I don't just mean this talk tonight, I mean this stage. The stage of the king. This is going to be something. Timestamp us. Talk number 182. The Masculine Journey, Night 10. The King, Part 1. To follow in the footsteps of where we've gone before, I will again borrow an illustration from Lord of the Rings. I want you to think, those of you familiar with the franchise, I want you to think of the end of the third and final film in that original Peter Jackson trilogy. Okay, this is going to be a little bit different from the books. Picture the end of the third film, Return of the King. Okay, picture the coronation ceremony at Minas Tirith for Aragorn. Can you picture it? For those of you who are familiar with the movies, for those of you who are familiar with the visuals, you should be able to, in your mind's eye, recall what that coronation ceremony looks like. Let me ask you, does anyone at that ceremony, anyone in that city, anyone in Minas Tirith in that case, anyone watching, wonder why they're making him king? Were there naysayers in attendance saying, but how will we know he'll be a good king? Or, more to the point, did you, as the audience, wonder if he'd make a good king? Why, when that scene unfolds, don't we question his qualifications? It's because we've seen his journey. We remember Aragorn at the Inn of the Prancing Pony in the Fellowship. Originally introduced to us as Strider, he was a formidable ranger whose abilities were renowned. From there, we went on to see his thorough competence in battle against all manner of awful. We saw his genuine humility while interacting with others, those who knew who he was and those who didn't. And, much to the point of where our discussion of the king now takes us, we remember him wrestling with the consequences of who he is because of who his ancestors were. This is addressed explicitly when Arwen finds him brooding at a shrine of his forebear. And she asks, "Why do you fear the past? You are Isildur's heir, not Isildur himself. You are not bound to his fate." And he replies, "The same blood flows in my veins. The same weakness." What Aragorn models for us, the audience, is the transformation that we, gentlemen, must undergo. from ranger to warrior to lover to king. As the ranger, Aragorn traversed the wilds, developing in resilience, in strength, and in competence. Don't miss this. When we are first introduced to the character, and as is the case with most who are yet rangers, his strength was reserved for himself. As the story unfolds, however, this begins to change. At a crossroads in the story, where Aragorn has the option of going back to his life of solitude and selfish wandering, he chooses instead to commit the strength of his arm to others, to the Fellowship. It is to Frodo he says, "If by my life or death I can protect you, I will. You have my sword." Now, his sword has a purpose beyond self-preservation. The warrior emerges. As we learn more about the world of Middle-earth and the characters we're following, we see snippets of Aragorn's past and the hurt he's caused the women in his life, namely Arwen, who has suffered great frustration because of his unwillingness to mature, to leave the thrilling but selfish life of the ranger and go on to become the warrior, the lover, and the king. She yearns for him to grow up, and so long as he refuses, she suffers. As the trilogy goes on, however, we see in Aragorn this very change. And because of excellent writing, composition, and directing, we are palpably shown the weight of the implications settle onto his previously unburdened shoulders. He knows he must change, but he fears doing so. This fear is not an irrational or unfounded one, though. His trepidation is the kind we must all face, men. This is his asking himself the question, do I have what it takes? In the case of Aragorn, he certainly answered the question, do I have what it takes to defend myself? One look at his swordsmanship, survival skills, and situational awareness, and we, the audience, can see that. But who was that strength for? Now, he was attempting to answer the question, do I have what it takes to lay aside selfish ambition and conceit? Do I have what it takes to lay down my life, not for myself, but for others? Taking this idea further, he had certainly answered the question, do I have what it takes to be desirable to women? Again, we're shown that he is desirable indeed to the fairest women in the land. But what did he use that competence for? Now, he was attempting to answer the question, do I have what it takes not only to get the girl, or a girl, but to keep a girl? To set aside selfish sexual conquest, to sacrifice all other prospects in order that I might serve this one girl. And then comes his greatest and most ominous change. As a ranger, he had answered the question, do I have what it takes to make hard decisions and live with the consequences? A life of solo survival depends on one's affirmative answer here. But how far does that practical wisdom extend? Who benefits from his wise decision-making? Now, he was attempting to answer an altogether different question. Do I have what it takes to make hard decisions where others must live with the consequences? Gentlemen, we come now to the culmination, in a sense, of what the masculine journey is all about, for which all the previous stages have been preparation, and the mastery of which has as a prerequisite having done well all the stages preceding it. Now come the days of the king. To wield power, influence, people's very lives. This is the reason for all you have thus endured. This is the reason, men, why you're here. To come into the stage of the king and to steward well all that falls under your purview is as great and noble an undertaking as it is perilous. Who among you will make the claim that we have an abundance of kings in our world today? We find men in power, of course, but they are not true kings. They've not assumed power through the fierce wrestling that we've just described of Aragorn, nor do they have the heart required for such wrestling. Sadly, there are none among you unfamiliar with the consequence of such men sitting a throne. Countless kingdoms, homes, families, businesses, institutions, schools, indeed nations, have been brought to ruin by such men. Something, again, I don't need to tell you. And this ruination will continue until you do something to change it. Yes, you. This is not a problem for some other guy. This is not a problem for someone with a different personality or disposition to deal with. This is not something that gets solved by others. This is something, if it is to be solved at all, that gets solved by you. All the lousy kings you just pictured when I called them out, they have thought those things. They have thought this someone else's problem. And that is because every man among you, even as I speak these words, stewards a kingdom of some sort. There is some fragment of existence over which you hold sway. Again, each of you stewards a kingdom of some sort. And before I continue, let me just say that it is a profound irony that even as I make that claim, nearly everyone listening, before all else, is racking their brain for an exception to my words. Why? Why search for exceptions? Why wonder if you might be an exception? I know why. Let me make two things plain. First, the knee-jerk reaction among men to look for a way out is why our world is such a mess. And second, you're not crazy for seeking an out. The life of a king is not a life that you want. And no matter how many games or movies tell you otherwise, you know it in your bones that this is so. So, wanting to avoid this responsibility does not make a man crazy. It does, however, make him a coward. You do have a kingdom, however small. Even if you are a prisoner, if you're confined to a cell for all the days of your life, you yet have a body to steward. And even if you're a paraplegic, a prisoner in your own body, you yet have a mind to steward. You do have a kingdom. And as you mature, as you develop as a man, your kingdom, incidentally, is prone to increase. But here's the rub. And the question many of you have been wondering. Sure, we each have some aspect of life over which we rule, even if it's something small. But Gus, what about the kind of rule that we think of when we hear the word king? I can and will presently address both. The problem with which all mankind wrestles is this. When can a man be trusted with power? This can and does mean any level of power, yes. But when you think of a king, you think of, in all likelihood, politicians. You think of military leaders. You think of CEOs, CFOs, CTOs. You think of civic leaders. You think of heads of NGOs and nonprofits. And I ask a question again. When can a man be trusted with power? I want you to really think about this. All you who are listening right now, I want you to really think on this for a second. What must be true of someone who you would trust to handle that power? Go on. Think about it. What must be true of someone who you would trust to handle that power, that level of power? You don't need to say it in chat. This is just for you. I'm not going to see chat. You think of some stuff? Think of some things? My question then is, by those metrics, should you be? Should you be trusted with power? All of the masculine journey to this point has been building up to this moment, to this question. Gentlemen, should you be trusted with power? If you are wise and honestly seek to incorporate these lessons into your own life, we may yet see the return of good kings in our lifetime. If you choose foolishness, and it is a choice, and ignore these lessons, we'll get more of the same. So again, I ask, when can a man be trusted with power? My answer? When his character has been developed. It is no coincidence, therefore, that the focus of this entire series has been about the development of that very thing. Because while there are any number of offices man might be king over, the heart required to be a true king is the same. Incidentally, the inverse is also true. No matter the particulars of the office, the wrong heart will always spell trouble for both the leader and more to the point, those under his rule. But, as ever, we need to define terms. We need a common understanding, a common vocabulary, if this is to be at all helpful. Veterans of the Mafia community will have heard me talk about integrity quite a bit. It's one of my favorite words, and I've spoken to it many times. For the unfamiliar, though, integrity comes from the word integer, okay? Meaning one, like the number one, or intact, to be whole, as opposed to fractious, okay? It's not 1.2 or 1.7, it's 1 or it's 2, okay? It's whole, not fractious, okay? You got this? To be a man of integrity, okay, means to be the same person in all circumstances, okay? You're not fractious, you're not fragmented, you are the same here and all the way over there, okay? This did not, incidentally, the word, originally carry necessarily positive connotations. It simply meant to not be two-faced, okay? Who you are around your family is who you are in the workplace, is who you are in church, whatever, okay? Over time, however, the word integrity has come to be used in an almost exclusively positive context. Today, when you hear so-and-so is a man of integrity, you automatically assume a positive connotation. To take it as shorthand, you take it as shorthand for so-and-so is a man of good, praiseworthy integrity, right? Okay. Well, character, the word character, is like that, okay? The word itself comes from the Greek kerasso, meaning engraving or etching or scratching into something, okay? One's character speaks to that which is etched into their very being. A pair of shorts that you wear does not denote character. You can easily change out of them into slacks. Your role at work does not denote character. Your role may be easily changed. And just like with integrity, character did not necessarily connote positive attributes to a person. It was used to refer to whatever had been etched into you. Okay? If you were an untrustworthy scoundrel who's known to lie, cheat, and steal, that reputation was a reflection of your character. Do you see it? Now then, when I adjure thee, hone your character, what do I mean? What am I saying? Obviously, I'm using this positive connotation of this, okay? And I'll here employ another illustration that Mafia veterans will recognize. Again, veterans of this community have heard me utter the likes of these words before. Think about some of the biggest decisions that are now behind you, okay? The ones that have shaped your life. The decisions that have brought you to where you are now, okay? Think for a minute on some of those. I want you to hold in your mind 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, whatever, big decisions, big turning points in your life, okay? That caliber of question, okay, that caliber of decision, that's sort of like, oof, okay? Think about that. It's common parlance, known by most of you, I'm sure, to describe those moments as forks in the road, yeah? Okay. We might also describe those instances as reaching a crossroads, no? You're finishing high school, and you want to go to university, okay? But you must choose between 2 or more schools. You are at a crossroads. You see it? You're deciding where you want to buy property. Buy your first townhome, buy your first condo, buy your first house. You're deciding where you want to put down roots. You must choose between all manner of options, cities, counties, states, countries. Okay? All manner of options. You are at a crossroads. You're out of high school, and you're looking to exit the dating scene for good, okay? You want to settle down. From the list of prospects, you must choose a partner. You're at a crossroads. Choosing one direction means choosing not to go in any other. Choosing to go left means you can't go right. Okay? Okay. But when I speak of a fork in the road, when I talk about this, when I aim to illustrate this point, to drive this home, I change the illustration some. Say it's that first one, okay? Say it's that first picture. You're about to graduate high school and you've got to decide which school to attend, yeah? Do you have unlimited time to make that decision? Or about the dating example. Will your pool of prospects all happily wait for you to make a decision, however long it takes? In life, nothing is static. So, I reject the traditional image of a man standing at a dusty crossroads, hemming and hawing, making a pro-con list, whatever. That is not the pace at which life moves. Which is why I liken it instead to a river. At all times, it is moving. At all times, whether you wish to or not, you are being drawn inexorably forward. You also don't get to pick the pace of life, do you? Think back to the early installments here in this series, in the masculine journey, when we talked about boyhood. And to yours, did you get a vote when you were a little kid as to what kind of life you'd live? Or were you just swept along regardless? Because, you know, you were a literal child with no say. What about as an adult? Are you always afforded a choice in whatever's going on in your world? Or are you still swept along regardless? The river of your life will not always be perilous, but it is always moving. So, rather, again, than the image of a static, tumbleweed-prone crossroad, I say that you're in a kayak on a flowing river. And when a fork in the river appears, you do not have unlimited time to determine which way you'll go. Sometimes, the river's current is slow. Right? The warm, languid water gently wafting you past picturesque scenery and soft banks of grass. Other times, that current is fast. The chilly water whisking you along faster than you'd like. Unkind-looking boulders and marooned logs jealously guarding the stony banks. And still other times, it's whitewater rapids of snowmelt. The freezing water surging about you as your eye glimpses for the briefest of moments and then it's gone. The mangled wreck of another traveler. Regardless of which you are currently experiencing, life is always moving, and there's no pause button. The river is drawing you forward, and unless you wish to be dashed upon the rocks down in the middle, you must choose which way to paddle, and fast. You're 15. Huh? You're 15. You're hanging out with some friends and some acquaintances after school, and one of them offers you a smoke. You don't smoke. But here it is. The moment is upon you. You've rounded the bend. Okay? You've rounded the bend of the always turbulent waterway of a 15-year-old, yeah? And there's a fork in the river, dead ahead. You've got to make a decision, and you've got roughly 2 seconds to do so. That's not enough time to make a pro-con sheet. That's not enough time to phone a friend, call your dad, your uncle, grandpa. You're in a social situation with important ramifications for your social life and your development, and you need to make a split-second decision. Which way will you go? Whichever way you've trained to. This is what the military is referring to when we use the term muscle memory. When you hit a door, in my line of work, or at least my old line of work, when you hit a door, you never know what's on the other side, okay? It could be booby-trapped, there could be hostages, there could be a built-up, entrenched machine gun position facing that door, okay? So when that little like, knock knock, det cord blows the door, and you lay eyes on the interior for the first time, you do not have time to make pro-con lists for how to handle what all you're now seeing for the first time. Okay? Your life and those of the men behind you depend on your split-second decisions being good ones. And that is precisely why we train as often and as brutally as we do. So that when the time comes and our brain hesitates, okay, under the weight of new and scary information, our muscles don't. I don't need to think about how to fire my weapon. I know it as well as I know my arm. Okay? And if that weapon jams, I don't need to think about clearing it. I just do. I know what my weapon ought to do when I pull the trigger, and if it doesn't, I somnambulate through my clear procedures and resume firing. The same is true of every Marine. Okay? That is muscle memory. That's what that is. And the more I can trust my muscles to handle automatically, the more bandwidth I free up for my brain to process everything else. Tracking? So again, you're 15. You're hanging out with some friends and acquaintances after school, and one of them offers you a smoke. Which way will you go? It's possible, as happens with some, sure, that you'll just freeze and smash into the rocks straight ahead. That's called going into shock. We've talked about it before, but that's not a great option, okay? 0 out of 10, do not recommend. And if you do make a decision, if you manage to avoid the fate of shock, you will do so in the time that you have allotted, defaulting to what you know. Has your modus operandi been to look cool above all else? Then you'll choose to cave to peer pressure. But let's change it up a bit. Same scenario, but it's no longer a cigarette they're offering you. It's shrooms. The fork in the river is here. You need to make a decision now. Which way will you paddle? This, incidentally, is the story of a dear friend of mine. Her dream was to be an FBI special agent. We went through a criminology program together. We both were the top of our graduating class. She was in the honor society with me. She attended all the colloquiums and seminars. We did all sorts of work with the various 3 letters, the various alphabet soup agencies. We got all sorts of practice in. We went to conferences for police and sheriffs and all of the stuff. So we did a lot of things, okay? And then we graduated, which is all that we were waiting on for her. We were all set. Off she goes. I wasn't going to do anything with this line of work immediately. I was already a Marine, but she was itching to get started in the FBI. And then they did her checks. Then they put her through a lie detector. And they asked, "Hey, have you ever done drugs?" She said, "Yeah, I did." "Okay, what'd you do?" "I smoked pot briefly in middle school. I did that a couple times, this or that. Oh, and I tried shrooms once in high school." "One time." "Okay. Thank you for your time. We're done here." Not because of the pot. Standing policy for the U.S. federal government is if you are going to hold one of these law enforcement positions, you can't have ever used hallucinogenic drugs. Ever. Not even one time. And that's because of the way hallucinogenic drugs work on your brain. That is because of the permanent impact that those drugs have on your brain. It is possible physically to fall back into your drop, to fall back into your trip at any point for the rest of your life now. If you use LSD or shrooms or the like, you drop acid one time, this now is a peril to you the rest of your life. Which means you can't be trusted under fire. You can't be trusted because at any moment you could slip out of reality. You do not get to hold a federal position. You do not get a badge. Did my friend at 15 know all this? Did my friend at 15, surrounded by peers that she wanted to, like her and impress, did she make a pro-con sheet with all of the information available out there with everything? Did she get to make a perfect decision? No, she made a decision. And it was a decision that haunted the rest of her life. Whose fault is that? If the adults in your life never sat you down and trained with you for this exact scenario or similar ones, they are largely to blame for the fallout of your handling the situation poorly. The solution is not tell the agencies to pull the stick out and just accept you for how you are. No, it's not how the real world works. But also, kids don't know a lot. Adults know more. Adults ought know a lot. Unless you train for these moments, any good decisions that you make will be accidental. That's not wisdom, that's luck. What I want, men, is for you to become wise. I want you to know how to navigate life well, skillfully. And to be clear, life will always have circumstances and forks like the one I've described, okay? This is not a problem set unique to 15-year-olds. This will follow you, okay? When you're 21 in university and you have the option of using new AI programs to do the work for you. So, you can spend that time doing literally anything else. You're at a fork in the river. When you're 40 and married with 3 kids and your supervisor is giving you the kind of attention that your spouse hasn't in years, you're at a fork in the river. There's lives on the line. And you don't have all day to decide which way you'll go. Have you trained for this moment? If not, you'll either be swept away by chance or default to what you know. My question for you all is, what is your default? This default is your character. Think about who raised you. What patterns of thinking did they etch into you? Either suddenly, what we call trauma, either good or bad, or slowly, over years or even decades of repetition. Think about the friends you've surrounded yourself with. What outlook on life did they etch into you? Think about the heroes you grew up either watching or reading. What manner of etching did they leave on you? As Sancho so deftly expressed in Don Quixote, tell me your company and I will tell you what you are. Let me say that again, lest we miss it. Tell me your company and I will tell you what you are. Show me who you surround yourself with and I will tell you what manner of creature you are. When you're a child, you have little or no say in this. Deciding the nature of the company you keep is the purview of the adults in the room. Okay? And this, not of your choosing inculcation, will have no small impact on who you choose to surround yourself with as you enter into the stage of the Ranger in just a few years. Much of what is muscle memory by 15 is owed to whatever your influences decided would be. The apple does not fall far from the tree, after all. Thus, your character as a ranger is often somewhat plastic. On the other hand, you've been heavily influenced by the role models in your life to this point. On the other, the ideas are theirs, not yours. It's kind of like the difference between knowledge and experience. You can read about someone else's ideas in a book and have knowledge as a result. But once the rubber hits the road and you try and put those same ideas into practice in the real, no longer purely hypothetical world, and for better or worse, must then live with the consequences, you gain experience. So the ideas that you've been steeped in as a child and an adolescent, those are knowledge in this case. It is not until you begin to scrutinize this, for lack of a better word, inherited knowledge and pick and choose ideas of your own volition that your character truly begins to take shape. The axiom thus comes into its own once you have the opportunity to choose the company you keep. Even still, many of the etchings on our lives are permanent ones. For better or worse, their tracings will not leave us. The seriousness of this truism ought be the preoccupation, I argue, of every parent. It is because so many have not taken this charge seriously, however, that so many of our number are stunted in some form or fashion. Which brings us back to the question of the evening. When can a man be trusted with power? When can a man be trusted with power? Is the influence of a parent that I've just described important? Is that influence important? Is that not power? Notice that I did not ask, when is a man allowed to father children? Clearly no one's asking permission to procreate. My question was, and is, when can a man be trusted with power? Put another way, what must be true of a man who would become a father such that the etchings on his progeny's life will be good ones? What must be true of him such that he can be trusted to wield that power well, to wield that influence well, to wield that impact well? My posit is this. When a man's character reflects such good and wise default settings that he needn't brood and opine on what lay downstream on the river's branching, when he chooses what is right and what is good as a matter of course, then he can be trusted with power. Put plainly, when a man's heart is so yielded to the good that his split-second decisions are, more often than not, the right ones. And notice my important caveat here, okay? No one is perfect. We are each of us disappointments, and every man will miss the mark here. But this is not a free pass. If, whether or not your decisions produce good or bad outcomes for yourself and those around you, is more or less a product of chance, then this is not you. You ought not be trusted with power. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. The man I am describing is one who consistently gets it right, more often than not. The more often, the better. This is why I have many times implored of this community, decide today who you will be at the fork. Don't miss this. Don't miss this. I said, decide who you will be at the fork, not what will you do. Not what you will do at the fork, who you will be. What you will do is the outworking of who you are. You needn't decide what you will do. The muscle memory of your character, who you are, will determine that. So I again charge you, decide today who you will be at the fork. The wise will consider paths he may never see. The fool will watch his feet. What might the fork in your life look like? Might the fork take the shape of that cute but married coworker? How about that promotion you've been waiting for? Only it turns out there's a catch, and they'd want you to fudge the numbers in your new role. Or maybe it looks like the end of a long work week, and your wife asks you to spend quality time with the kids so she can rest. You have to decide ahead of time, today, what kind of man you'll be. And if you can endure the difficulty and submit yourself to these lessons, you may yet become a king. That is, a true king, a good king. Alas, how many men do you know who do? Most men I know do not have the heart for this. They've not done the requisite work to become men of sound character, and are therefore unable to steward well what little power or influence they already have, let alone take on new power. Which is why, regardless of age, inclination, or already held authority, a man is ready to become king only when his heart is right, only when his character is sound. And that sound character, that includes knowing what a king is for. Which is why a man is unfit to be king unless he has successfully walked well through the stages what preceded it. If he has, then he learned from the warrior that the strength of his arm is not for him, but for others. Likewise, a good king uses all he has to make his kingdom a paradise for those under his rule. Think for a minute about the greats, if you would. Humor me here. Again, you don't need to put this in chat. This is just for you. Think of the greats, the good kings, okay? Historical, present day. What images come to mind? Whose face, whose name comes to mind? I'm willing to bet that what made you think of this man was not his appearance. Nor was it any of his other superficial qualities. Picture again one of the greats. Are they not thought so because of what life looks like for those under their rule? This idea is brought into even sharper relief when you compare them to bad kings. Can you think of any bad kings? Again, you probably did not first think of someone's superficial qualities as being the reason that they're a bad king. In all likelihood, you thought of the hell that their rule created for those under them. This, then, is how we can know the good from the bad, by answering whether or not he is, or was, an oak of righteousness, under whose strength the vulnerable find refuge. Again, I ask, how many men would you describe thus? Are you? Are you a pillar of strength? A place of refuge for others? This is the test of a king, and this is not up for debate. This is the burden that your life has been preparing you to bear. You run from it not just at your peril, but to the ruin of all. Again, I ask you to think of the kings, this time in your life. Your boss or bosses at work, the NCOs in your platoon, the senior staff members in your church, the deans and professors at your school, the superintendent of your job site. How many of them, often finding themselves in a position of authority simply by virtue of time on the job or who they know, and not because they've walked through the misery of the masculine journey thus described, how many of them took the reins of power and made life good and safe, not for others, but for themselves? How many of them said to themselves, hey, I've done my part, I've paid my dues, I've done my time, now it's my turn. Now I get mine. Now I get to kick back, relax a little. But here's another litmus I've many times extolled. As common as sand on the seashore is the man who, when he has no authority, says, I just need to play the game for a while until I get power, and then I'll do the right thing. Or, I just need to keep my head down and not speak up until I reach insert level of authority here, and then I'll reform things. Then I'll right the wrongs of this place. But how many of these men go on to become a good king? Is it possible? Sure, miracles do happen. But what's the best predictor of future behavior? Yeah, past behavior. In other words, look to a man's past, and you will see his future. Remember, we do not rise to the occasion. We fall back on our training. What have these men been trained for? What have you trained for? More to the point, what does life look like right now for those in your kingdom? Regardless of size. Regardless of size, regardless of scope, what's the quality of life like for those over whom you have some form of authority? What's life like for your wife? Does she walk on eggshells? In fear? Is she constantly exhausted, burnt out? Is she treated like furniture or roommate rather than cherished co-regent? How about your kids, if you've got them? Are they being raised with best practices such that their sound character will be able to stand in a tumultuous age? Do they get the leftovers of your energy and affection when you get home? What about the people who work under you? Do they feel as though they're just building up your kingdom? Or do they feel built up? Do they feel that they're being led to grow in ways that will lead to their flourishing? Or do they feel like a cog, an interchangeable widget in your unfeeling, ever-turning machine? When you look at the lives of the bad kings, like Edward Longshanks, Stalin, or Mao, or characters in various stories like Denethor, again, from Lord of the Rings, or Scar in The Lion King, you see immediately my point. Their power is purposed with making their lives better. The people under them be damned. The Sheriff of Nottingham did not wake up each morning asking, how can I make life good for others today? And yet, that's precisely the question a good king asks. Alas. Alas. To ask it requires a level of maturity too few men will suffer enough to achieve. Yes, suffer. For the burden is a heavy one. A fool rushes to the throne. He lacks the wisdom to shudder. The wise man does not seek power. He knows its price. We will continue the king in our next talk. If you've not followed on Rumble, YouTube, Twitch, turn on your notifications. Now's the time. There's much more to be said about this most important of stages. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your consideration, your thoughtful patience, as I've presented what is, without exception, to accepting no one. It's difficult material. Much of which I must needs wrestle with, same as you. This will be more true. This will be this will be especially important, an especially important caveat as we reach the final stage in the masculine journey, the sage. But here it seems wisdom also would implore that I don't say too much about a stage I've not yet lived or walked. I have in many instances, on many occasions, held the office of king, civilian and military side. But the stage itself, the stage proper, we'll talk much more about what that looks like. We'll talk much more about what that looks like next time. Next time. And if you have questions about what we've covered by way of introduction, I suppose, here tonight, the place to ask those questions is in the CNRs. These questions for our present series will take priority. Because if this is stuff that you are wrestling with, and I hope that you are, you can't do it alone. The world needs kings. Good kings, proper kings, true kings. It's dying without them. And I would ask, by way of parting question for you, as I put to you during our outset here tonight, by what metric do you gauge a good king? And then, men, how do you stack up? Have you wrestled with these ideas? Have you wrestled with the weight of authority, of power, the implications, the costs, not just to you, but especially to others? Have you wrestled with these ideas for real? If not, you may be the fool rushing to point fingers at people you see as kings who have some sort of authority. You might be pointing with one finger and having 10 pointed right back at you. Understanding this material, understanding this stage in particular, requires humility. It is my encouragement to each of you, perhaps don't be so quick to point fingers in this particular case unless you are already also doing the work, the awful and arduous work of sorting out these things in your own life. Because if you don't understand this weight firsthand, you betray yourself for a fool by suggesting its ease elsewhere. Let us be slow to point fingers, slow to condemn, but let us be quick to take seriously this material and its implications in our lives. Let us work on completing where we must, on repairing train tracks where we must, the things that we've thus far gotten wrong, so that we can focus on doing this well. The world is waiting. Thank you again. Especially big thank yous to the public patrons. Aki, Bootless, Dano, Leanne, Ferret, Goose, Abby, Tink, Helly, Marty, May, Karma, Pre, Rick, Zen, Ryan, Sabrina, Tier, Mouse, Trotsky, Pell, Milk, CJ number 1, and Zen. Thank you. And for everybody who's been dropping links, for the subs tonight, thank you guys. It means an awful lot. We will not be raiding out tonight. For those of you new around here, it is not my wish to raid out after something serious. And finally, again, I wish to highlight something remarkable, and that is, of all the places that you could be spending this time, this Friday evening, Saturday for some, you could be spending this all manner of places, and yet you chose to be here, doing hard things, of your own volition, no gun to your head. And that speaks volumes. It says a great deal about the caliber of human who would choose this. It says a great deal more about the caliber of human who chooses to not let my words be wind, and instead takes them to heart, tries to do something with this. For whose sake? Others? What will it look like in the streams ahead? Tomorrow night, back at the not so silly game, but a game. Shoesting on Tuesday. The Rendezvous, doing life together on Wednesday. And back here soon enough. What will it look like to do this life together meaningfully thing? What will it look like to join the Mafia community, to choose hard mode? Come and see. Come and see. And as ever, I will strive to see that it's a decision that you don't regret. In the meantime, I wish for you each marvelous evenings, mornings, wherever ye be. And I will see you on the other side.